We are back after what
Well,
feels like an eternity. Just to recap, since we've been gone, 22 Ravens players have been on the COVID list. Our game has been postponed 3 times, and it feels like a lot's happened in a week. So, yeah, this is the Purple
yeah.
Rain Podcast with Simply and Sutton. We're back again. How was your Thanksgiving? Tell me about it.
Oh man, Thanksgiving it was good, but it could have been a lot better.
Yeah.
And it could have been a lot better if we actually got to see some Ravens football on Thursday. But of course, we all know we didn't get to see that because the game got postponed. And that wasn't the last time it got postponed, which is wild to
No,
think about.
no.
But like my guy simply said, this is the Purple Rain podcast. I believe this is actually episode 6. This is episode 6. Yeah,
Yes.
5-1. So we got a lot to talk about for you guys today. Listen, we already see there's a bunch of people in here. If you're watching this live, please go ahead and like the video. Helps us out a ton. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and do that as well. That helps us out a bunch as well. But just let us know you're in here. Sound off in the chat room. Let us know you're in here. We love to interact with you guys. We see a couple of people we already have. We have some regulars in here. Our guy Falou. Shout out to you, man. Our guy
Shout out.
Kenny. What's up, man? Thank you for coming through. Every stream. Let's see. Fatal Storm Clan. What's up, man? A bunch of
The
other people in
game
here too.
The game is on Wednesday now. He just asked. The game
Wednesday.
is on Wednesday. I believe
Yeah.
8 o'clock NBC prime time. Whew.
Hmm.
It's a lot.
It's a lot for sure. And it's let's just talk about let's get some good news out of the way first because we
You
had
can.
a lot of bad news, to go over, and that's going to be, I guess, the majority of this show. It's been a lot of bad news lately,
Yeah.
but just some bright spots to kind of lighten the mood just a little bit before we get into the nitty gritty of things. You were just telling me about all the players who we got back off of the COVID
Yes.
or IR list. So let us know one more time who
Okay.
those players are.
All right. So let's give you some good news before the bad news comes down. So, the Ravens activated 4 players off the COVID IR list, and they are Jalen Ferguson, DJ Fluker, Broderick Washington, and Amon Marshall. Amon Marshall is on the IR, so that really doesn't count. But it's good to know he's free, he's healthy, he's clean. Always good to hear that. But the bad news now, we placed, I believe, 3 or 4 people back on the COVID list, and some pretty big names for Ravens fans. I know one was our top receiver, Mark Andrews, which he has type 1 diabetes. So that's even just more prayers and blessings to him. It's
Prayers up to Mark.
that's and to James Conner too. I know he got
Yeah.
it, cancer survivor. That's scary. I know Matt Judon is on the COVID list as well.
Double whammy.
My guy Willie Snead, COVID list as well, and Terrell Bonds, cornerback. So it's been
It's
been a week.
it's been painful to say the least.
Just like
You
above
guys
your
see-
head, that word.
Right, yeah, pain. That word right up there. That's what's been describing, the Ravens in the past. It's been about 1-2 weeks now that we've been just kind of in turmoil. And I know I was telling you earlier, right now, as a Ravens fan, like today, how I feel is like a homeless person, like on the street, like just begging for anything good to happen, for this franchise right now. And it just seems like nothing is bouncing our way. Everything just seems to be going down the drain for us, and the season just seems to be slipping away. And I hate that, so I just really don't know what it is that we're going to be able to do in order to bounce back from this. It was already bad enough that we were losing. We were on a 2-game losing streak. But then, just when it was, coming around to the point where, oh, look, we could bounce back on Thursday night on Thanksgiving against the Steelers, and then we can turn our season around. Then COVID hits us harder than any other team has been hit this season.
And to make matters worse, on Thanksgiving night, I'm just finished up watching the Dallas game, and I get a tweet from Ian Rappaport, Ravens star quarterback Lamar Jackson test positive, and I'm not playing with you. I just put my head down and just like, that's how it's going to be. I just sat there for about 5-10 minutes. I'm like, wow, like it's us. We're the team that has the breakout.
And, of course, there's a lot that goes into this whole situation. And I just wanted to kind of talk about like the people who are saying that the Ravens should forfeit. This is all the Ravens' fault. Like, they didn't follow protocol. Couple things. So, would I be mad if the NFL made us forfeit this game? No, I really wouldn't be that mad. But am I on the side of like, oh yeah, the Ravens should definitely forfeit this game, yada yada? No, I'm not. And here's my reasoning. There's no such thing as protocol when you're dealing with something that nobody else has dealt with ever before. This is a virus, something that nobody was prepared for. The NFL was certainly not prepared for it. And they chose to, put their money over the safety of like the people who work for them in the organization. So we knew going into the season that like a protocol was probably not going to fix anything. If you're not doing or running things the exact way that Adam Silver and the NBA was doing it with the whole bubble thing, it's not going to work. It doesn't matter how many rules you set in place for, oh, you can't go here after practice, or you have to go straight to the training facility and then back home. You never know what's at home. You never know what's waiting for you on your way between the training facility and home, or the actual the practice field, or the game day. It doesn't matter. The stadium, it doesn't matter. So it's like you could pick up corona anywhere, and I didn't mean to say carte blanche like that, but yeah, you can pick it up anywhere. So it's just like I don't really understand how people are saying like, oh, this is the Ravens' fault. I get it was our strength and conditioning coach. He wasn't being that safe about things, but at the same time, this could happen to any team, and that's really my argument. Like 2 weeks from now, there could be an outbreak on the Falcons, God forbid, yeah. But it's what happens. You can't control it. You can't really get it under wraps. So I don't really agree with people saying like, oh yeah, this is all the Ravens' fault. They didn't follow protocol. It's like, what protocol would actually work? You give me a game plan that would work to keep everybody COVID free. Doesn't work like facts. That.
And they have a really short memory. 2 months ago, the Titans had that outbreak. I mean, yeah. And let's not get it twisted. They even broke more protocol by having group practices at a high school football field. So don't sit here and act like the Ravens are the first team to catch a coronavirus case. Or we can throw even back. We had Raiders players go to an event with no mask on. I mean, and then like they're saying, oh, they didn't cancel their game. Or the Niners, when they had one receiver test positive and the close contacts couldn't play. Why didn't they cancel that game? I don't know. Maybe because they didn't have positive tests for 8 straight days. And the Broncos are no quarterbacks. Sorry, that sucks. But did you have an outbreak on your team? No. We had one test positive. It's like they're trying to just make an example out of the Ravens. And I'm just going to go out and simply say it and call them out. The Steeler players, you guys are acting like little kids. Like you are putting money over health right now. Yeah. And it look no further than your running back. Because if I'm James Conner, I'm like, these are my teammates. Like they don't care about my health. Like they want to play, and I'm a cancer survivor. And they like, come on. And I even more, Eric Ebron. This man, how old are you? You are a grown man acting like a little child on Twitter. Come on. Grow up, big boy. Come on.
Yeah, man. They've been, I feel like a lot of the Steelers players have been really immature about things. I know there have been some Steelers players who, have been a little bit better about it or more understanding of the NFL's approach, towards the situation. But for me, it's just like I was saying before, man. You can't just go ahead and just dump all the blame on the Ravens. Like, oh, this is totally on them. They should forfeit. The NFL is babying them because they want them to make the playoffs. This, that, and the third. It's like, no, at the end of the day, this is a health and safety thing over anything else. Like, the game comes second. The money comes second. Your health and your safety has to come first. You know what I mean? So it really doesn't make any sense, even if we play Wednesday, because I know there's still going to be people, probably trickling in, testing positive or whatever like that. But even if we play Wednesday, I still feel like it's probably not the safest thing to do.
No, because don't get it twisted. Like I know neither of us expect us to win. It's not about winning or losing. We could care less at this point.
Yeah. So it's stupid, man. It's stupid. Let's see what we have in the chat. I got Darian Thomas. Shout out to you, bro. He says, out of all 32 organizations, we are the ones with a breakout. Wouldn't think in a million seasons. Are we? Jesus. It just seems like we're cursed. It seems like there's been just so much going on lately. Like,
man, we can. Oh wow, I feel like if there's a documentary made on any team in the NFL, it should be us, because that is some top tier entertainment. We hit between injuries, the Hollywood tweet, and then just us kind of everybody hyping us up, and then it just what's happened this year. It's been hard.
Just everything seems to have come all crashing down, and that sucks as like a Ravens fan, being as last year we were so good and we were like knocking on the door of like, going on like a Super Bowl run and things like that. And now just things are so much different. We've been losing games. We were already decimated by injuries before the COVID bug really hit us.
Yeah.
And then when the COVID bug hit us, now it's just like, I don't even know if we can even think about playoffs anymore. Let's talk about playoffs.
Okay,
Is
let's
it
do it.
possible? Yeah, but I say, is it possible at this point in the season for us to even think about making the playoffs?
So after watching the games yesterday, Tua was out. But they played the Jets, the Dolphins, beat them easily. The Raiders, on the other hand, they got demolished by a
Clobbered.
average Falcons team, 43-6. The Browns, they beat the Jaguars, and then the Titans. So I'll give you some positive news.
Mm-hmm.
What we needed to happen for us yesterday happened. We needed the Colts to lose because we hold that tiebreaker. The Titans ran all over them. If you thought Derrick Henry ran over the Ravens, go and watch the Titans-Colts highlights because that man had 3 touchdowns in the first half, I believe. They took him out. They're like, you're not coming back in anymore.
Yeah. Ooh,
but
you know what? And that's funny that you mentioned Derrick Henry too, because I have him in fantasy, and we'll talk fantasy later. But
I was thinking about that when I saw him, bro, because I'm playing him this week. I'm like, man.
Yeah.
But to talk about playoffs, so we're 6-4. I'm just gonna say we're gonna lose this week. That's 6-5. That makes the game against the Browns that much more important. Mm-hmm. I say if we can win out and definitely beating the Browns, we'll make the playoffs. But this team right now, with everything going on, I was telling you earlier, this new Ravens team has never faced adversity. Tell me one time they have. And it's you know what? Last year was we were just beating teams easily. And then Lamar's rookie year, barring that Chiefs loss and then the Browns win to give us the division, it's been hard. So go out there and show that we're the underdogs and go win some games. It's not going to be pretty, but a win is a win. So that's how I feel about it. Like we said, take it one game at a time, but definitely just don't look ahead. That's how I feel. So what are your thoughts? You agree with me? If not, just let me know.
Nah, man. I agree. We definitely, and like somebody had said in the chat, we definitely do have to take it one game at a time. That's really all we can do at this point. It's just going into this game, and I want to talk about it in a little bit. Who will actually have for the Ravens? Real quick, I just want to touch on this real quick. Lamar Jackson, he tested positive, I believe it was Thursday, like you said, Thanksgiving, right?
Now, I think it came in Wednesday. So he might be eligible for the Cowboys. So I don't know if they released him a day after, but there was rumblings it was him. But I believe, don't quote me, I think if we play on Wednesday, Dobbins and Ingram are able to play. Not sure about that. But maybe Lamar can play against Cowboys. Yeah.
Against the Cowboys or the Steelers, JK and Ingram?
Steelers for JK and Ingram, but maybe Lamar for the Cowboys.
Okay.
I'm not really worried because I know when RG3 was playing with the then Redskins, he would light up the Cowboys. But it's always good to have Lamar instead of RG3.
Yeah, and, just going back to the whole playoffs thing, in order for us to make the playoffs, we literally have to stay as healthy as possible. For one, we have to rebolster our defense. Our defense needs to really step back up. That needs to lead our charge. It's always been the identity of the Ravens. I know our defensive line has been banged up. What's up, God, baby? Shout out to you, bro.
Yo.
I know our defensive line has been banged up. Losing Calais Campbell and losing Brandon Williams, that really hurt us. And Matabike is also on the COVID list too.
And Jahad Ward and Pernell McPhee. We can just keep on going.
Oh God, man, Jesus. So it's gonna be tough, man, to say the least. It's gonna be very tough. We just need to, somebody needs to light a fire under this team. And I know that we are kind of down in the dumps right now, but morale is something that needs to be at an all-time high if we want any sort of chance to make the playoffs or make a playoff run. Yeah. So just somebody needs to have the team rally, around each other. After going through something like this as a team, I feel like you have no choice but to kind of rally around each other and, kind of say, okay, let's go ahead and let's finish the season strong. Right. Am I right?
That's facts. It's 100% facts. And it's kind of how that whole bring your own energy, as much as I don't want Mark Ingram to see the field, that man will bring his own energy. Yeah. And I'm looking towards Des Bryant. I think if we get him involved, he'll be bringing his own energy as well, too.
Yeah.
Once he gets that touchdown, he's going to be amped up. And I know we talked about it last week, 4 receptions, 28 yards, but one of the catches could have won us the game because it just was happening at such a big time.
Yeah.
And I look at it last year, we were just having fun out there and winning. There's no fun this year. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I really haven't seen the team just have that game where they just want to have fun, barring week 1, but I'm not really going to count that because nobody had preseason.
Yeah.
Since then, it's just been tough wins that we didn't have to go through last year, besides the Niners game.
Especially, it's painful. I think the theme of this podcast today is just pain. Our offense.
Don't mean to cut you off. 3:40 p.m. on Wednesday is when we play.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What? 3:40 p.m. is when the Ravens play on Wednesday.
Live breaking news from the Purple Rain podcast. You got to hear first.
Wow. 3:40 p.m. That's early. It definitely doesn't give us a lot of time, you know.
And we have to fly tomorrow night.
We got to fly tomorrow night. My biggest thing, oh man, I was so pissed off this morning when I found out that the NFL canceled our practice and was still expecting us to play, you know, Tuesday, but not Wednesday. And it's just like, bro, we haven't practiced in over a week. How do you guys expect us to even be prepared for this game?
It's just all the odds are stacking up against us. And frankly, I love it. You know, it's kind of, purple pain. That's what we're going through right now. We're living in Spain right now, but the S is silent.
Jeez, man. This is, wow. 3:40 p.m. is when we play the Steelers on Wednesday, which is super early. I don't know if I've ever watched a live football game at 3 o'clock on a Wednesday.
So a little bit of, for the people who love NFL stats like me, the last time there was a game on Wednesday was 2012. It was the Cowboys and the Giants. And the reason it wasn't on that Thursday is because I believe President Obama was giving a speech. Oh, he was giving a speech at the Democratic National Convention. So they moved it to the Wednesday. But besides that, I don't think there's been any other, maybe another time, but that's just in recent memory. So we're definitely experiencing history right now.
Wow. So yeah, like you said, live breaking news on the Purple Rain, aka Purple Pain podcast. Yes. The Ravens will be playing against the Steelers at 3:40 p.m. on Wednesday. That is crazy. I will be at work during that game.
Wow.
Well, during the first half of it, at least, I'll be at work. But I'm still going to be watching it nonetheless, of course. That's painful in itself. Course. But, oh, man, it's just going to be... Jesus, let me see. We've got some stuff going on in the chat down here.
Let's talk about it.
See, Darian says they wouldn't even let us stretch but wanted to compete on national television. Exactly. That was my exact thoughts, Darian. I was like, why are you guys canceling our practice? Not letting us practice, but letting us play the game. That just sounds like you guys want money.
And we're a team already hurt by injuries. I mean, having practice for a few days, I mean, a week basically. But give you guys a little story. So I know they weren't allowed in the facility. So I live around the Ravens facility in Owings Mills. So I'm running some errands on Friday. I'm going down the street and I see a really nice Ravens hoodie I've never seen before. I'm looking a little bit closer. It's Willie Snead jogging. I'm like, these players, like, I respect him even more now. I'm like, he didn't have to. I mean, he's keeping his body in shape. And, of course, the next day he tests positive for COVID. But I'm like, I like to see that. I mean, he's our number one receiver now, and he's out there grinding, hustling. So, man, it's going to be a fun game at 3:40 p.m. on a Wednesday without a lot of our starters.
It'll definitely be a fun game. Let's see. Canyon Schuster says, other teams mess up and Steelers get killed for it. LOL. Steelers have to play Wednesday, and they were going to play Washington on Sunday, but now it's Monday, and there's 3 games on Monday night. So I know Canyon is a Steelers fan. I recognize him from last week's episode.
Yeah.
I as a Steelers, like, if you're a Steelers fan, I get it, man. Like, this is the second time this season that, like, your schedule has been tampered with because of other teams catching COVID. But like I said around, 15 minutes ago, this is something that nobody could have called. And by something, I mean COVID. You know what I mean? And the NFL willingly moved into this season knowing that there would be, difficult times like this where you kind of got to shuffle around the board and stuff like that to kind of accommodate for this team. not being able to play, that sort of thing. I think that they should have just from week one, they should have said, hey, look, we're having a week 18. The week 18 is for all the, teams who need to play, who had postponed games, that sort of thing. But yeah, like I
They're
said, if
so
you're a
against
Steelers
it.
fan, I get it. But they're just
They're
so
so
like,
against Week 18.
I don't know why. I don't understand that. But Steelers fans, I don't think that you have much of a right to blame anybody. Nobody's to blame. To blame the Ravens for an outbreak on their own team is to blame them for basically starting COVID, basically, because no one has a handle on this. Nobody has a handle on it. You can see the cases in the world are going up every day, especially in this country. For those of you guys watching in America, cases are going up like every day across the country. So nobody could have called this. Things are just getting worse. That's just how it is.
And to add on that, I know a few
Yeah.
Steelers, like we said, got placed on the COVID list and tested
Yeah.
positive. So
Yeah.
it's like if that game were to be played, we wouldn't know. I mean, you would automatically assume, oh, the Ravens gave him that. I
Yeah.
mean, that's kind of a good thing about it getting postponed. It's like nobody's perfect, and that's kind of that showed you that. So
That's
I
the
mean,
lesson.
yeah,
Exactly,
nobody is
Alex.
perfect.
Nobody is perfect. That is so true. And let's see.
I'm looking at you, Steve Saunders.
Let's see. Zay King 56. What's up, man? Faithful viewer, man. We appreciate you. He says, Marquise has the
Guy.
miss all the shots you don't catch mentality. That's why he complains for the ball. If he doesn't get a chance, he whines. He does and fails. He is still upset. No pleasing him equals cut. So just talking about Hollywood Brown or Marquise.
Yeah.
Marquise Brown here temporarily. Yeah, I can see that he kind of has that attitude. It's just for me, I want him to keep getting his looks. I do. I don't think that we should just let, Marquise Brown go by the wayside because he really hasn't been having a good 2020. None of us have been having a good 2020 if you really look at it. So it's like, give the guy his chances. If he doesn't come back next season, I would say, I think we should keep him for sure, like throughout this season. But if he doesn't come back next season and is like performing like the way that we need him to, then we can kind of evaluate whether or not we should move forward with him or not. What do you think about Marquise Brown, though, and his mentality?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say cut him. I mean, we have him under control for 3 more years. 2, if we decline his 5th-year option for him being a first-round pick. But I was watching the Chiefs game last night, and Tyreek Hill I'm sorry to God Baby in here. He lit up the Bucks. And I look at it, I'm like, what are they doing with Tyreek Hill that we aren't doing with Marquise Brown? But is it the Ravens' fault or is it Marquise Brown's fault? Because there's been times where it was a 50-50 ball I saw yesterday. Tyreek Hill came down with it.
He goes up and gets it.
We saw it against the Patriots. He didn't come down with that. J.C. Jackson came down with that. So I definitely think it is a little bit of mentality. That's a great point you bring up. But let's hope that with Dez now signed to the 53-man roster, they start feeling that heat up there behind. Like, you're going to be challenging for snaps now because there's new people in here. And I'm not saying we'll sign him, but Kenny Stills went through waivers unclaimed. I mean, you never know. We could always sign him to the practice squad. But
we could.
They just need to know that out of all our positions right now, like receiver is the one where there is no true guy there. So someone needs to step up and be that guy. I don't think it is Marquise Brown right now. It could be, but just right now.
I think, like you said, I think that guy could be Dez. If Dez, like he showed like a lot of heart and a lot of attitude in the Titans game. If he can carry that into the rest of the season and say we keep him in next season, I think he can be that number one guy. And I know he's not the youngest of guys, but what were you about to say?
I want him to re-sign 100%. And shout out to him. He was actually training up at Randallstown High School, I saw, and he signed his contract literally right where he used to go to college near at the Owings Funds Metro Center. So like, shout out to him. Like, that's big. Like, I respect that hustle of these players. Like, because there's some out there that are just lazy, and that if they had a day off, I'm just gonna sit inside and do nothing. That man, he knew what it was like to be out of the NFL and how hard he had to work to get back in it. I think some of them young guys should look at that too. Like, it's not easy. So once you're out of the league, it's hard to come back.
Yep, man. And let's see. A guy Falou says, do you think we're going to sign Dez for next season too? Definitely think we will.
Yeah, we should.
I don't think there's any question about that, especially if he, does even decent for the rest of the season, because most of our receivers aren't even on his level.
I think after this year too, I think Chris Moore is a free agent. We'll still have I think Miles Boykin is the second-year receiver I would keep my eyes on, maybe to be cut over Marquise Brown.
That's
because
interesting.
he wouldn't be a lot of money because he'd be going to his third year. Really hasn't done that much this year. Didn't do a lot last year. He's a great blocking receiver, but Dez is kind of the same as a vet. Other receivers, I think we have Snead for this year, maybe next year. I'm not too sure about that. I want us to re-sign Snead. But after that,
but we'll probably bring Snead back.
Then we have Prochain Duvernay. So
let's see. Our guy Darian Thomas, he says, "Are players playing in games with COVID? I find it odd that they are testing positive literally a day after the game, like in Lamar's situation." Well,
I want to say yes. I think Lamar played against the Titans with COVID.
Really?
But I saw a report about that, but I'm like, okay, then why didn't any Titans get it?
It's so weird, isn't it? It's like you just don't know. It's like, and that's why the whole thing about like the protocol, you just don't know where this thing is going, where it's coming from. It's just like you just don't know. It's like it's like Eric Bieniemy. You know what I mean? It's just drawing up new stuff. Like, it's just coming up with new ways to, like, destroy you. It's just, I don't know, man. But I do definitely think that, players are probably playing in-game with COVID. Some of them probably knowing, the NFL probably knowing about some of these things. It's crazy, man. This year is just, it's wild. And Canyon Schuster says the NFL needs a bubble. If it were at all possible.
I don't think it's possible. I mean, there's just so many players. It's like practice squad, even just free agents, like it would just take so long for them to be able to be allowed in. Yeah. And like, say there's an injury, it's like, I need to snag somebody up. 10 days. It's just, wow. I don't think a bubble would work. I really don't think. Yeah. It would work, but I don't think everybody would do it, to say the least.
Yeah, I don't think everybody would, be with that either. Let's see. Christopher says, "I like what you said. Simply, this young Ravens team has never dealt with adversity. That's true. What we are going through right now will be good for their character development. I love it." I agree with that. Yeah, I agreed with you as well when you said that, we never went through adversity, because you look at last year, there was zero adversity until, we played the Titans in the playoffs. And then the year before that, nobody really expected anything out of us anyway. So,
no, I mean, we were 4-5 and Lamar came in. And speaking of that, I mean, I know it's off topic, but Jalen Hurts is getting more snaps tonight. So maybe the Eagles could pull a Ravens. Not saying.
I forgot it was Monday Night Football coming on tonight. We'll talk about that a little bit later too. But yeah, let's see. Kenny Silverman, shout out to you, our most loyal viewer. Shout out to you, man. He says, "Is Lamar's run first mentality the reason our receivers are not flourishing?" That is an awesome question. Here's my thing. I don't think Lamar has a run first mentality, because he said time and time again that, like, I'm looking to throw the ball. I'm looking to throw. I'm a quarterback. I want to throw the football. But when things break down, it does look like he's only looking to run. Like, when his eyes come down, like from, looking down the field, when he comes down, when he's under pressure, he's only looking to run. And that's what he's supposed to do. You know what I mean? Like, if he's under pressure, if he's hot, as they call it, quote unquote, he's supposed to get out of the pocket. He's supposed to, try to scramble for some yards. And I like it when it sounds like you got some more news over there, man.
I'm sorry to cut you off again. It sounds like the Cowboys-Ravens will be moving to Tuesday night next week.
Wow.
Yeah. I wish I was making this up. I wish I was making this up. It's just nonstop news coming here.
More breaking news live on the Purple Rain podcast. You love to see it. We love to see it. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to our channel as well. Please. Look, man, Tuesday, so I guess let's talk about that now. Sheesh, man. It's just the news keeps coming.
And it's like, I wanted to talk about like what our teams would look like on Wednesday now with all these people out, but let's talk about Tuesday. Let's go ahead.
Jeez, man.
God. Okay, well. And now it's looking like it's going to kick off at 8 o'clock next Tuesday.
Okay.
So, oh man, this is a hell of a year.
This is ridiculous. That's what this is, man. I just don't know how things just keep going. What's up, Noelle? She says Ravens.
Shout out.
I don't know what is going on, man. But next Tuesday, I mean, I guess it makes it better on us, right? Because we have to play.
Wow. So it's okay. The NFL just put out a statement. Just put it out. So the Week 12 game is going to be on Wednesday, December 2nd at 3:40 p.m. on national television NBC. The Week 13 Cowboys Ravens will be moved to Tuesday, December 8th at 8:05 p.m. on Fox, NFL Network, and Amazon. Oh, and J.K. Dobbins and Mark Ingram will be eligible on Wednesday.
Yes.
But we are going to be down a dozen other players.
That is true.
What we're known for best on the offense, the run game, we'll have everybody available.
Minus the guys on our O-line. We're missing guys off the O-line, aren't we?
Makari. We're missing our centers.
Yeah.
Makari and Skura. And Will Holden, our right tackle from the practice squad who came in and did his thing.
Wow.
Okay.
So, I mean, is the running game even going to be as effective?
Let me say a prayer for everybody who picked up Gus Edwards in fantasy. Like, thinking he's going to be like the Gus bus this week because it's going to be JK again. But I guess, do you want to go over our roster for Wednesday now?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
So going into this Wednesday's game, we're just going to talk about our roster, who we will have versus who we won't have. Go ahead, bro.
Okay. So we'll have RG3 at quarterback and Tyler Huntley as our backup. Running back group, all four. No fullback. So I'll bring this up to you while we're talking about it. Maybe you throw Gus Edwards in as a fullback. I mean, he's big, can block. Why not?
Yeah, you could. You could do that. I mean, that's probably one of the only options we're going to have.
Him and Luke Wilson, I'd say.
Him and Luke Wilson, yeah. So
receivers, Marquise Brown.
Ricard, though? Ricard, do we still have is he on?
He's on the COVID list.
He's on the COVID list? Okay, yeah.
So we'll have Marquise Brown, Miles Boykin, Devin Duvernay, James Prochet, and Des Bryant as our receivers.
Okay.
Tight ends, Luke Wilson, Sean Colkin, and Eric Tomlinson. I don't know two out of those three guys. And I like to say I know football a lot. I don't know two out of three of them.
Yeah, me neither.
Left tackle, Orlando Brown Jr. with no backup. Left guard, Bradley Bozeman and RJ Prince from the practice squad. Center, Tristan Colon Castillo from the practice squad. Right guard, Ben Powers and Ben Bredesen. And our right tackle, freshly activated from IR, Tyree Phillips. So that's the offense. Take it how you want.
Okay. So on offense, of course, we're missing Lamar. Of course, we're missing Willie Snead. But other than that, it sounds like we're going to have most of our pieces on offense, if I'm not mistaken. Am I missing somebody here? I know we're missing Mark Andrews. I know we're going to be missing Willie Snead. Other than that, I mean, we've got Dez. We've got Marquise Brown. We've got Boykin. We've got Duvernay. And we've got JK and Ingram. And Gus as well. So maybe, and it doesn't look like we have too much patchwork going on our O-line. Not too much, but.
No, yes. Yeah, we have okay. Yeah, you're right. It's just the center is kind of the main issue, the center.
Yeah.
So, do you want to go to defense next?
Yeah, let's do defense. Before we get to defense, though, let us know in the chat if you're watching this live. Let us know, what do you think of what are your expectations from our offense? You know, us telling you what we just told you, who's playing, who's not. What are your expectations? How many points do you think that we can put up with an offense like that?
And how do you think we can beat the Steelers with this offense? Like, what is it? Just ground and pound? Maybe throw some throws in there. I don't know. I need to hear other people's opinions because I would love to. All right, this is where the fun happens. Let me take a drink of water real quick because our defensive line.
Darian Thomas says we have Fluker too on offense.
Yeah, Fluker's back. I'm sorry, I missed that. that. So we're basically missing a center, to be honest. Okay, wow. Defensive line. This is from a few days ago, so I'll update it with who's back. So Aaron Crawford, Justin Ellis, and Derek Wolf are our three defensive linemen. I don't know who Aaron Crawford is. No disrespect. So no Campbell, no Big Baby, and no Matabike. And then and Broderick Washington, he'll be back too. So for our pass rushers, we'll have Yannick Ngakoue and Jalen Ferguson and Chauncey Rivers.
Okay.
For our linebackers, which have not been hit, we have Patrick Queen, LJ Fort, Chris Board, Malik Harrison, and Christian Welch, who is mainly special teams. We'll have Ty Bowser as well. Our corners, I mean, healthy. Marcus Peters, Marlon Humphrey, Jimmy Smith, Tremont Williams, and new signing Pierre Desir.
Mm-hmm.
For safeties, Chuck Clark, Anthony Levine, Deshaun Elliott, Jordan Richards, Geno Stone, Nigel Warrior. And then for a special team, Sam Cook, Justin Tucker, and long snapper Nick Moore. Yeah.
Go over linebacker one more time.
Patrick Queen, LJ Fort, Chris Board, Malik Harrison, Christian Welch.
So D-line is decimated.
Yeah.
But everywhere else, like corners were healthy, DBs were healthy, linebackers were good. It's really just D-line, isn't it?
I mean, edge rushers minus Pernell McPhee.
Yeah.
Minus Pernell McPhee, so...
Judon. We won't have Judon.
Oh, and Judon. Yeah, and Judon.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Against the Steelers, it sounds like we're not going to be able to get after Ben at all. Like,
unless Jalen Ferguson has a breakout game.
He's going to have a coming out party. Like, he's like, man, Jalen Ferguson's really going to have a game in order for us to be, doing well in the pass rush. And I just don't see us being able to get to him. So the game plan does not need to be from Wink Martindale. That is, does not need to be blitz, because we don't have the personnel to do that this game. So I think we need to, trust in our DBs, our defensive backs, our Marlon Humphreys, our Marcus Peters, our Deshaun Elliott's, and really just try to get coverage sacks and just try to make really good plays on the ball, when the ball is in the air. Now, them running the ball against us sounds like they won't have James Conner.
No, they're not.
So, right. So they're going to have who? Benny Snell?
Benny Snell, Anthony McFarland, the rookie from Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
And I can look up it. I know they have one more play. Okay, so there's more information why we're at 340. NBC is committed to broadcasting the 88th Rockefeller Center Christmas tree lighting. The tree lighting trumped football. Really?
Yeah. Well,
really? A tree lighting.
This is NBC.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. For the Steelers running backs, let me check it out. Benny Snell, Anthony McFarland, and Jalen Samuels.
Jalen Samuels, that's who it was. That's right. But Canyon says Samuels isn't playing.
Oh, I mean, if you want to tell me that, I don't know what I don't know who else they have.
I guess it's Benny Snell and McFarland.
Yeah, or if they pick up somebody off or their practice squad. I'm not too sure if they have anybody on there.
Yeah, so I mean, them running the ball, not too worried about that. They don't have a lot of personnel there, but still, they could run all over us at the same time. You just never know. I
mean, Benny Snell plays a hard football game, so he's no slouch, but he is no Derrick Henry. So, man, but it's just. Are we going to drop 7 or 8 in coverage? I mean, because they have some weapons.
Yeah, they've got weapons like across the board. You're talking your Deontay Johnson, you're talking your Chase Claypool, you're talking your Juju Smith-Schuster, Eric Ebron. Like all those guys are good. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like they can make plays, and we're really gonna have to. It's gonna be a war of attrition between their receivers and our DBs.
Yeah.
So if we can come out on the winning side of that, I give us a puncher's chance at winning this game. Now on offense, on the offensive side of the ball. I saw somebody say one of the keys to victory, for us on Wednesday would just to be run. Darian Thomas says run. Michael, the Hawks fan, he says feed J.K. Dobbins. Yes, absolutely. And
don't be scared to throw in Gus. Don't be scared. Let Gus run into him. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I think that we should definitely, like we're saying, get Dez involved. Get Dez involved early and often, honestly. Put in that work, run it with JK. That's going to be a 1-2 punch. That's going to be our 1-2 punch. Getting the ball to J.K. Dobbins, letting him get 4 or 5 yards of carry like he was doing against the Steelers, feeding it to Gus to just kind of pound it up through the middle. And then, getting the ball, whether it's quick screens to Dez Bryant or if you give him more crossing routes or even deep routes. I don't have any doubt in my mind that RG3 could at least get him the ball to where it's like a 50-50 type play. You know what I'm saying? Where he can just kind of go up and get the ball, make a play. Am I right?
You're 100% right. And I'll probably get some hate for this, but our best possession receiver will be out in Willie Snead. Yeah. So that'll give Dez some more opportunities.
Yeah.
So I'd be happy to see it. It's kind of weird though. Growing up, I was watching the Redskins and the Cowboys. You know, it was RG3 against Romo and Dez, and now they're playing on the same team. So let's hope some of the NFC East early 2010s magic comes to life. It's yeah. Maybe we'll see something new at the offense, different quarterbacks. I don't expect RG3 to run that much. I mean, we're gonna design a play or two in there, but I'm not expecting him to be like Lamar. And let's just hope this line can block, please.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. You know, I was actually curious to know about, and I was about to look it up on my phone. What were RG3's stats against the Steelers last season?
Less than 100 yards.
Less than 100 yards passing?
I remember, it was a rainy game. It was bad. It was ugly. I know we had a blocked punt touchdown. We had a strip from Duck Hodges. We ran a lot with Gus and Justice Hill. Justice Hill had a touchdown. Gus had over like 100 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that was mostly a ground and pound game from us. But they had most of their starting defense, so why not do it again?
Let's see. Real quick, I want to cover two things in the chat. Christopher Swain says, this is going to be an interesting game to watch. I'm excited to see how we react to some adversity. Who is going to step up? Who wants it? That's the biggest question, man. And we're sitting here, we're talking about maybe it's JK if they give him the opportunity. Maybe it's Dez. Hopefully it's Dez. I would definitely take Dez as like the MVP of Wednesday's game, whether or not we win or lose. It's just a good sign seeing Dez Bryant play good football with a Ravens uniform on. Let's see. Zayking56. He says running the ball only gets you so far against a team like Pittsburgh, especially with a battered team. We need to throw in some jet sweeps and tosses and attack them 10 to 20 yards downfield. So Zayking says we need to take some shots. We need to just try some stuff. And I don't disagree. I think we should still be creative. This is going to be the game where Greg Roman has to get in his bag. And he has to go deep into his bag to pull out some tricks that we have not seen this season, even with Lamar in the game. You know, like I don't think there's any use in trying to baby RG3. I think that we need to try to hit them over the head because they're going to be expecting us to baby RG3, run the ball.
They played him last year. They played him.
Exactly. They played against him. So I think we definitely need to let him kind of, I don't want to say let RG3 completely loose, but definitely get him some creative play calls and stuff like that. Like I said, the jet sweeps, with tosses to, JK, get JK out in open space. That's going to be the biggest test of the game, man. Just seeing how our play calling on offense, because it cannot be the same. Here's the thing, they're talking about us forging a new identity. This week, we're forced to forge a new identity. We are literally forced. We have no way, we have Lamar. We don't have Lamar. I'm sorry. We don't have Lamar. So we have to get as creative as possible in order for us to even have a fighting chance to win this game.
I want to talk about the one comment who needs to step up, the whole secondary, because after the Titans game when Tannehill picked us apart and the tackling, come on, that's not going to do it. Not going to do it in the playoffs. No. So Humphrey, Peters, I'm looking at you. Jimmy Smith should play. Looking at you too. Not as much Pierre Desir or Tremont Williams because they're fifth and fifth special teams corners. But seriously, like that was terrible. And you know what? Don't force a turnover. Let them come to you. If I can kind of relate this to a game of last year, I'm gonna go to the Seahawks game. Bad weather, never gave us a chance. Had starters, but nobody gave us a chance. Why not just shock the world? Go in there and just do your thing.
Man, I love what you just said just now, bro. Like, you just said, don't force turnovers. Let them come to you.
Yeah. It feels like the whole punching the ball. That's as it does work, but when I see somebody punch it and they miss and they just broken tackle, you're forcing it. Just let it happen.
Yeah, just let it happen. At the end of the day, you're not going to be able to punch the ball out on every other grown man that you're playing against, especially because in practice, they go through drills. They say, oh, we're playing the Ravens this week. You know what their DBs like to do. They like to strip the ball away. Yeah, and they run drills where they're running through, guys, and they're batting them and trying to swat the ball away from them. So they're preparing for that sort of thing. So tackling always needs to be the first priority. And I guess hopefully we'll see that, this week when, we play the Steelers. Hopefully we can tackle first, force turnovers when they come to us. that's going to be, you know, a huge thing about this week's game. Darian Thomas says, we do not have a creative OC, offensive coordinator. We don't. We don't. And this is really going to listen, I'm going to put it this way. Greg Roman was already on the hot seat with Lamar starting and, you know, the majority of our pieces on offense healthy. Without Lamar in, I still feel like there's no excuse. There's even less of an excuse now, to me at least. Like if you're the offensive coordinator on this team, you have to be creative enough in order to get us by on offense. It can't be the same old stuff. Obviously, we're not going to be doing a lot of the whole. We'll probably do still a lot of RPO stuff, but not a lot of quarterback draws, not a lot of QB powers at all, not a lot of QB RPOs where he actually keeps it. That'll happen a couple times, but not nearly enough. Yeah, the options, exactly. Not nearly enough as we would see it with Lamar. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
As for the creative OC, man, I want to say the last time the Ravens were happy with an offensive coordinator, like the whole season, last year and 2014 with Gary Kubiak. Can't think of another time where Ravens fans were just. And then Jim Caldwell, when he took over, like there's always an issue with our offensive coordinator. Like we're never 100% happy with him.
Yeah, man, and it's so interesting because you really just can't have everything, right? Defense has always been a staple of this organization. And it's like, our defense is so good. It's always been so good. If our offense could just be even half as good as the defense is, we'd be probably the best team, you know, in the league. And it just seems from, you know, year to year, our offensive coordinators, they may work for 6 games or maybe even a year or two. And then it just seems like we can't get anything going. There's no sort of like adapting to what the league is doing. Teams adapt to us, but we don't adapt to the teams. And that's the problem. So I don't know, man. I think that if we don't perform in the next 2 weeks on offense, like at all, I feel like Greg Roman's hot seat is going to go from hot to scolding.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. And he might be out of there before the end of the season.
And thankfully we have an owner who isn't like a Jerry Jones. Like he stays low key. He doesn't get his hand into too much, but if he wants to change, he will make a change. He will tell whoever, like, he's got to go. So I trust Casa. I trust Bisciotti, our owner. I trust Ozzie Newsome, who still has a hand in this front office, that will do the right thing. Because they've done it before and they would do it again.
Let's see. Canyon Schuster says something very interesting here. He says, so I forgot to say if the game was played on Thursday, fans could attend, but now the mayor signed that order, so no more fans for the rest of the year in Pittsburgh, other than family. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's the safest thing. I can't get mad at that.
It's definitely the safest thing. Our guy Falou says, do you see the Ravens possibly turning this around and winning the Super Bowl? If we do, we're the greatest team of all time. Now, to that sentence, yes. If we do, we're the greatest team of all time. We are absolutely the greatest of all time if we win the Super Bowl this year.
If we do, I am watching that America's game on NFL Network 500 times in a row because that would be the best America's game they would have ever made. Just everything we've gone through, man, I would have loved it.
Oh, yeah. Man, that would be if we won the Super Bowl this year, you would not be able to tell me anything about Ravens football for the next like 4 or 5 years. You remember that COVID season where halfway through the season, our team caught COVID real bad and we weren't that good. And then we came back and we won the Super Bowl. Yeah, like 20-some players were on COVID lists. You remember COVID, right? Yeah. Thing with the masks and all that. Yeah, man. We would, bro. The bragging rights would be insane if we won the Super Bowl this year. But realistically, Falou, I don't see it happening. There's so much competition. I watch a team like the Chiefs play, and I'm just like, man, they are really firing on all cylinders, man. And Mahomes he just gets better and better. Tyreek Hill is amazing. Kelsey is amazing. Travis Kelsey and Tyreek Hill are like
they're 1 and 2
second and third. Or one or two.
That's
and receptions or receiving yards.
Receiving yards.
Yeah. So that just goes to say, goes to show how good Patrick Mahomes is as well. And their defense is underrated.
I know that this isn't a Ravens Chiefs preview, but if I'm a fan of the opposing team, hit the Chiefs. They don't get hit. Like they have not been like I don't know if you watched the game last night where Alan Lazard got absolutely cleaned. Somebody's clean one of them, clean hit, and They won't play like they usually do because just they make it look easy. So that's kind of just how to stop them. If I was a defense, just hit them. But yeah, I don't see us winning the Super Bowl. Going into the season, my goals were to get to the playoffs and win one playoff game because I would have been happy with it. Just get that monkey off Lamar's back that he can't win a playoff game, get that out the way. But let's just make the playoffs now and then take it from there. And if we make it, we won't be a home team. Just go on the road, shock their road, go somewhere else, win that game, go again, win that game, go to Super Bowl. Why not? But I can't see that.
Let's see. Dude 1105, he says, I know you probably don't care. We do care, man. We care about all you guys who are in here. Exactly. Interacting with us and everything like that. Plus, we love NFL. He says, I know you probably don't care, but I almost had a party when the Lions fired general manager Bob Quinn and head coach Matt Patricia. I guess you're a Lions fan? Yeah.
That party you had is going to be 20 times bigger when the Jets get rid of Adam Gase. And listen, if you need a head coach, there's this guy called Greg Roman. You can have him. He'd be a great head coach.
I think Kenny Silverman, he says, hopefully Roman takes a head coach job. That'd be cool. Darian Thomas says, 2012, Kubiak had our offense rolling.
So 2012 was the Cam Cameron, Jim Caldwell. Kubiak was 14.
Yeah.
He's right. When Kubiak was there, we had Forsett, Kamar Aiken, Steve Smith, Torrey Smith, Owen Daniels, like that. Flacco was in his bag. He was balling out that year.
Yeah. Let's see. Fatal Storm Clan says, y'all make me laugh. Thank you so much. No problem, man. We appreciate you for coming through, man.
100%.
Rude Ugly Duck. Shout out to you. He says, our team is so frustrating. Every game besides the Chiefs game was in reach. We were so close. We just can't turn it on at the end. And that's so true, man. It seems like we cannot close games for anything this year. And the reason why we can't close games is because all we're doing and all the games that we win are keeping it so close. And we're fighting scratch and tooth and nail just to get every single point, every single first down. It's not easy at all like it was, last season. So, we just have to, it's our offense really. Because our defense performed amazing last year, and I think in large part because our offense was so good. We were on the field for 3, 4, 5 minutes at a time, so the defense was getting good rest. We weren't going 3 and out every other drive.
Running the ball effectively.
So we're running the ball effectively. Things were just working. Our play calling was creative. We were executing. We just have to turn it around, and I think it starts with Harbs. Starts with Harbs, man.
It does. I feel like with the Chiefs game, we shot ourselves in the foot that game. Mark Andrews had a drop. I mean,
we did. Andrews. Oh God, let's talk about Mark Andrews real quick, man. Real quick.
I love me some Andrews. I really do.
Don't you love him? Don't you love him, man? You love Mark Andrews. I love Mark Andrews. Everybody in the chat probably loves Mark Andrews. But it seems like in big games he always sells, man. And it's just
he proved us wrong last week against the Titans. He did prove us wrong. That big 30, 40-yard touchdown catch. But you're right. It's happened more times than not of him not performing. But I feel like that is because Hayden Hurst isn't here. And I feel like we definitely got to draft a tight end in the first round. Maybe in the first round next year. I wouldn't be opposed to drafting a tight end.
Yeah.
Because that in the line is what is holding this offense back. Is an extra tight end or just a stud lineman.
Yeah.
So we'll see who's there.
Man, I just every time it seems like when Mark Andrews has a pass that can turn the game around. That's what I mean.
Yup. I know exactly what play you're talking about.
Yeah, those turning point plays where it's just if he catches this, then we're good. Our percentage, our chances of winning goes from, let's say, around 33% up to 64% if he makes this catch or that catch. You know what I mean? And he just doesn't catch those passes. And I just don't understand it, man. I don't understand it. I understand the one against the Titans. People are like, oh, that was on Lamar. But at the end of the day, we talked about it on this podcast. He got one hand on the ball, which means he could have caught the ball. I don't know, man. I want him to take that next step because that's the next step for me. You have to be able to close games. You have to be that Gronk in the 2018 or 2019 Super Bowl where you're going to make that play to change the game. You know what I mean? You got to be able to make a play like
nightmares from that game because the Rams game. Yep.
Yeah, that was a pretty bad Super Bowl, but Mandrews, he has to take that next step. Of course, we're gonna hang on to him for a long time. Hopefully, he
Lock
stays
him
with
up.
us. Yeah,
Lock
lock
him
him
up.
up for sure, definitely, because he's great. But well, he's good. He's very good. I wouldn't say he's great yet. You're great
He's
when you
not at
make those
that Kittle
plays.
Kelsey level yet, but
Exactly.
that's where we want
Exactly.
him to eventually be.
Yeah. So let's see. Andrews is too picky choosy when it comes to games.
I
Let's
mean, you look at the game
see.
against Washington, he had 2 touchdowns, making it look easy. Then against Steelers, really didn't do anything. Titans had a touchdown, but like you said, the one that could have changed the game. That's a good point you bring up.
Let's see. Our man CJ. What's up, man? Trust me, we weren't ignoring your comments. It's just a lot coming through right now. But he says, what if the Ravens come back and win next game? Met Titans in the playoffs, beat them, met the Chiefs, beat them, and in the Super Bowl and
Wow.
win. Wow, that'd be quite. Anyway, listen, if we win the Super Bowl this year, any way we get it done is going to be amazing.
Yeah, I don't care.
It doesn't
I
matter
don't care.
Right.
I
Doesn't
think
matter
about
who
it.
we play.
2012, like we beat a rookie Andrew. Was that Andrew Luck? Yeah, rookie Andrew Luck, I
Yeah.
think.
He
And
was
then
balling.
a Peyton Manning who
Yep.
was balling. And I mean, let's not forget that Broncos team beat us 34-17 a month and a half before that, and
Yep.
then beat a Tom Brady Patriots team in Foxborough, 1 year removed from Billy Cundiff missing a field goal and Lee Evans dropping that catch, and then beating a revolutionary Greg Roman offense in the Super Bowl against the Niners. So, I mean, that team had some dogs. Bernard Pollard, Anquan Bolden, dogs. That whole line, dogs. That whole defense, dogs. Defense wasn't all that, but they were going to help you win. But that offense carried us that playoff run. Maybe the offenses do carry us this time. I feel Dez reminds me a lot of Anquan Bolden. Hopefully, I mean, maybe he can bring that effect. But who's going to be our Torrey Smith? Who's going to be our Jacoby Jones?
Man, I'm hoping, Dez can be our Bolden, like you said. Maybe Duvernay can be our Jacoby Jones.
I was thinking that
You know
he
what I
has that
mean?
effect on special teams.
Yeah. And then also, I mean, Marquise, if he can take that step, you know what I mean? If he can take the top off of defenses, I think we'll
That's
be
what
good.
Torrey
What
was
did you
really
say?
good at, and drawing PIs.
Yeah.
He was very
yeah.
good at that.
Yeah. And to draw PIs, you got to be kind of scrappy for one. And you also have to like be in contention for the ball. It seems like on a lot of these deep balls, Hollywood's not even in contention to catch that pass. Like he's just not in it. He looks like the DB sometimes.
He
And
does.
it's crazy.
And I think about, I mean, has he really made a contested catch before in the NFL? I can't think of one.
No,
I'm trying to
I don't.
think back.
I can't really think of one.
You know what? The Bengals last year when Lamar did the spin. I mean, the Bengals it was like 52-10 at that time. They gave up. But that's the only time I can think. He jumped up in front of somebody and caught it, but he has never quote unquote mossed somebody where he jumped over them to the ball.
He hasn't mossed anybody. He's been hit after he's caught the ball and he's held on to it. Like against the
Yeah.
Steelers, I remember. I think it was last year when we played them, and even I think
The
it was this year
touchdown.
too. That touchdown
Yeah.
where he got like hit in the back really hard after he caught the pass, and he held on to it. So shout out to him for that. But he's
That was
not
Hollywood.
anywhere near. Yeah, that was Hollywood. This is Marquise we have this year. Let's see. Roman, he says RG3 just needs to dime to Hollywood, Duvernay, and Dez. Do you think that RG3 can really throw dimes like in 2020?
I don't think so. I mean, I was going back to watch them last year, and like the way he threw the ball was just really awkward. Like, well, he can never throw a football before. But I mean, if we win, I won't complain. He could throw it with his foot, kick it with his foot, throw it with his left hand. I wouldn't care if we win.
Yeah, man.
But to say dimes, I'd probably say it's more throwing it short and relying on the receivers to get some yak.
Yeah, and that'll probably be the game plan going into this week, at least when it comes to him throwing the ball. I expect a lot of pass concepts where it's drawn up so receivers get open early. Like we were doing with Dez, maybe some stuff with Hollywood over the middle. Just trying to get guys early, open early so he can get the ball to them and not have to hold on to the ball for too long. Because, of course, our O-line is already not good. And RG3 is nowhere near as mobile as Lamar is. So he's going to have less time, to make those decisions. So I feel like they'll probably try to draw up plays to get the ball out quickly. Let's see.
We just passed our hour
Ugly
mark,
Duck.
and I just want to kind of review. We've had 2 breaking news already on this podcast. We've went over but everything Ravens.
Everything Ravens.
Yeah. We can go ahead. I just want to say that it's been a very hectic hour so far.
It has, and you heard it all here first on the Purple Rain podcast. This is episode 6. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to our channel if you've been enjoying the content thus far. Let's see. Rude Ugly Duck, he says, something happened to Hollywood and Lamar. They used to be buddy-buddy, but something clearly happened. Like arriving at games or leaving, they used to walk together, but something happened recently. So, yeah. In the last game, the Titans game, they did not show up together like they normally did for all the other home games. So I thought that was very interesting, and I don't know what you took away from that.
That's a good point. Yeah. I didn't recognize it. I didn't pay attention to it. That's a really good point by Rude Ugly Duck. I never even thought about that.
Yeah, they didn't come to the game together on the against the Titans, and they have been pretty much all season. So I don't know if maybe Hollywood's not really messing with Lamar too much for throwing him the ball more, or maybe if it's the other way around, Lamar's not really messing with Hollywood for not making him look good at sometimes, because I think after in that Patriots game, that interception right before the half, that was probably come on, man. Like for Lamar, if I'm Lamar, I'm thinking
just swat to do something because it was, that's a really good point.
If I'm Lamar, it's like, come on, bro, you're begging for the ball. And when I throw it up to you, you know what I'm saying? It's one-on-one. There was another defender in the vicinity, but at least if you're not going to catch the ball, bat it down so it's not an intercepted pass on my part. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to give you something. Do something. I don't care. So I feel like there may be some ruffled feathers between them two. I hope not. I certainly hope not, because I mean, hey, look, Hollywood has not been playing up to anybody's standards. Like when it comes to Ravens fans, Darian Thomas says, "Who? Soulja Boy?"
Oh,
that is funny. Soulja Boy got his feelings hurt. I mean, Marquise has just got to step up. That's what it is at the end of the day. Marquise, if you're watching this, and I know you're probably not, listen, man, you might be. Hopefully, shoot. But look, just keep doing you, keep being yourself, man, and don't let anything or anybody get into your head. Just go out there and play football. You've been playing football all your life,
Just ball.
Just ball, and if you have to talk to Lamar, talk to him not only as your teammate or your friend, but just talk as men. You know what I mean? Like, say, hey, look, this is the deal. I know I haven't been performing that much this season. And they may already be doing this, but just have a talk with each other to kind of get on the same page, because this whole season they have not been on the same page.
No.
They've been riding in the same car on the way to the games, walking in the tunnel at the same time into the locker room, but they have not been on the same page on the field. And that is just something that we need from somebody who we drafted in the first round.
So the Ravens just put out a statement real quick. Okay. It's not breaking news, but just a little update. So they hosted a safely distanced walkthrough / conditioning session at the Under Armour Performance Center. Players arrived already prepared to work out in the field. They did not enter the locker room or training room. They intend to hold another walkthrough tomorrow in preparation for traveling to Pittsburgh Tuesday evening. So it's not really even a practice, just a walkthrough.
I mean, that's
so
all.
Don't expect too much on Wednesday.
Yeah. We're going to see a lot of, I feel like on offense, we're going to see a lot of play concepts that we would run with Lamar. And they're just going to try to force it with RG3, I feel like, if we're not running the ball. We need to run the ball 30 times.
I'm going to go more. I'm going to go maybe 40 to 50, depending how many plays we have. Like, we ran a lot of plays last year because we just had those 10 to 12 play drives.
Yeah.
Like this year, it's just 3 and out. Like get a first down and 2 plays, and then 3 straight plays, 4th down. Yeah. So I just want to see something different. Please surprise me. I don't care who it is. Surprise me. And you know what? Make it competitive. Hell, we beat the Steelers with Ryan Mallett at quarterback. All right, Ryan Mallett. Like, come on.
Yeah. So, all right. So, like you were saying, we're about an hour into this podcast. This episode 6. Like, subscribe, of course. We're gonna get into our final score predictions, and I know we did this. I believe we did it on our last episode because we thought the game was gonna be on Thursday.
Yes.
But
Changes.
updated score predictions since a lot has changed since then. For me, I still say Ravens lose. At the end of the day, look, man, we are hurt on both sides of the ball. We've barely had any time to prepare for this game. So I do think that we take the L on this game, and I say we lose by a touchdown. Now, last week I said we'd only lose by 3. But now I'm saying we're going to lose by a touchdown. So 7-point margin, just because, hey, man, we have so many losses. And number one, we don't have Lamar. This game is going to be a very hard fought. It's going to be a very emotional game. As if, a Ravens versus Steelers game isn't already emotional as it is, with everything going on in the build-up to this game here, with, the Steelers feeling like they've been slighted because the game's been postponed, and the Ravens been suffering internally for days now. There's going to be a lot of emotion no matter who steps on that field on Wednesday. There's going to be a lot of emotion played during that game. So I feel like we will keep it close maybe for the majority of the game. Either that or they'll start off hot and then maybe we come back a little bit. But I say we do lose by a touchdown. I'm going to go 27-20. What about you, though?
Okay. I like that. I had us losing with Lamar at quarterback. Have us losing with RG3 at quarterback. I don't know what. I know I said we would lose, but I'm gonna say it's gonna be more than 7 points. I'm gonna go either 10-14. I'll go 30. No, we lost to the Chiefs 34-20. I'll go 31-17.
31-17?
Yeah, I just surprise me, please. But I just can't see us winning, like you said. But I hope this is a game where we've had too many games this year where we've lost the game compared to other teams beating us, if that makes sense. The only game I would say that we were beat was the Chiefs game. Every other game, I feel like we lost that game because we just either poor coaching, pulling a Plaxico burst and shooting ourselves in the leg. It's just we just haven't put together a complete 60 minutes this year. Why not start now? Go ahead. Prove us wrong.
Why not start now? Exactly. I hope they prove us wrong. Emmanuel says, unless we get Mark and JK back, they are supposed to play.
They'll be back.
Yeah.
Even if Mark Ingram's back, he's not gonna get plays. I don't think he will.
Yeah. Our guy Falou, he's mentioned this in the chat. He says, have you guys also realized every big game Lamar won most of the time we were away? That could be good for the playoffs. I mean, hey, if there's anything, that's a good point. If there's anything that's going to put that extra chip on our shoulder to where, we have to prove somebody wrong, hey, I'm all for it, That's
a really good point. If we just want to start it, 2018, that Saturday night game against the Chargers.
Yep.
I mean, we had to win that to stay in playoff contention. Last year, Seahawks. I mean, I wouldn't count the Rams a big game, but why not? The Bills. That's a really good point you bring up. The Colts away. I like that. I didn't even think of that. So why not? I mean, we're not going to get a home playoff game unless I think we'll be the 7th seed. I think we'll be playing the Chiefs. So, why not go into Arrowhead? And how would you feel if we go into Arrowhead as a 7th seed and beat them? I told you I had that dream earlier. Anthony Averett with the pick. But, man, that would – I'd be happy with that. Right.
Man, but I mean, would that be in the divisional or AFC Championship round?
That'd be wild card 2 against 7. Because the Steelers, I'm gonna lock the Steelers as having the number 1 seed in the bye. Like I just can't go against them.
Too easy. Yeah.
I mean, they had the Bills, which I think was the only game they'll lose, possibly. But besides that, I can see them winning going 15-1, maybe 14-2 if they rest their starters. But besides that, I mean.
Let's see. CJ says I'm going 47-23. Ravens win. Wow.
I wouldn't have that. I want the optimism, please.
I love the optimism. If we drop 50 points on the Steelers. I'll be
CJ,
like, bro.
if we drop anything more than 40, if you have a Venmo, you can drop it. I'll send you some money. All right. I just can't see it happening.
Yeah. Yeah, if we drop over 40 points, CJ, as a matter of fact, we'll just bring you on the show just to shout you
Facts.
out, because that'd be crazy.
Man.
Wow, but yeah, man. So yeah, those are our score predictions
Look,
for.
I want to know yours. Like, I know our guy CJ told us, but let us know your score predictions because
Yeah,
we'll come back to this video. Hopefully,
Yeah.
we're just laughing like, how are we so dumb? How could we say we were going to lose when we would win?
yeah,
Why not?
yeah. We're definitely gonna come back to this real quick before we go off of that. Zay King 56 says he made a list of things we need to do to win. So keys to victory. 2 of them were hang on to the ball and control the clock. Now the first, of course, those are 2 very important things to do. Hanging on to the ball and control the clock. They kind of go hand in hand because you can't control the clock if you don't have the football. So, but I think that this game, hopefully, and this is something that we have not talked about yet, but apparently it's supposed to snow in Pittsburgh, around
Football
that game.
weather.
So,
Let's
football
go.
weather, but that's going to make it even more tough on us,
Yeah.
because the last time we played the Steelers, we know it was raining, and that game, before the game started, Tony Romo was calling that game. And he said this game is going to be about the ball. It's going to be about the ball and holding on to the football. And what happened? We couldn't hold on to the football that whole game. So any type of weather or anything like that is going to make it even tougher on us to hang on to the ball and thus control the clock. So I'm hoping for no weather. If it is, Roman says 3 inches of snow. I hope not. If it is, Wavy says it's going to be a snow game. I hope not. If it is, maybe we can run the ball. JK, Gus can do their thing. But yeah, man, I don't think any type of weather is going to be beneficial for us in any way in this game. We need to be able to hang on to the ball, and I think we do that best if it's dry outside.
I agree. I mean, it'll be fun to watch as a neutral. I mean, a snow game. Nothing better than a snow game, though. A snow game on a Wednesday night. Who would have thought? I mean, that's.
Yeah.
I don't.
Let's see.
Yeah.
And then real quick, our last little prediction. Zay King also says 26-19 Baltimore. Game-winning pick 6 by Marcus Peters. He's calling it another pick 6.
I mean, like we said, that Seahawks game, he had a pick 6 that game, but
He did. That was his first game with us.
I just can't see Ben making that mistake. I mean, I don't know. I think it'll be a fumble compared to a pick, but
Yeah.
you know what? I mean, LJ Ford had a fumble return for a touchdown in week 2. Our guy LJ. So
Yeah.
how about LJ Ford being our player of the game against his former team? I like to see that.
Yeah, it's
I can see
possible.
that.
I mean, our linebacking play is going to have to be A1 because our D line is decimated. So if they run the ball and get to that second level, we're going to be relying on LJ Ford, Patrick Queen, Malik Harrison to take those guys down before they burst into our secondary. So hopefully they can have a good game. And of course, we're going to need LJ Ford, Malik Harrison, and Patrick Queen to also probably drop back in coverage some because they have so many weapons on offense, the Steelers do. So we're going to need all the help that we can get. So hopefully LJ Ford is that breakout player or one of our linebackers.
So. That would be big.
Yeah, but we are going to go ahead and move on from the Ravens versus Steelers preview. Now, let's go ahead and talk about some Monday Night Football because football comes on tonight too.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Seahawks, Eagles. While we're at it, drop your prediction. Who's going to win?
Yeah, Monday Night Football.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some more Jalen Hurts. Big Jalen Hurts fan. Alabama to Oklahoma and now to Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be getting more snaps tonight, which, it'll be fun to watch because Doug Peterson can draw up them plays. So
yeah,
I think it'll be exciting to watch as a neutral, but I'm going with the Seahawks win here. I think it's in Philly. But yeah, I got the Seahawks winning. What do you think?
I definitely have the Seahawks winning this game as well. They are just too well-rounded. They're a very, very good football team when, Russell Wilson isn't making mistakes, throwing interceptions, things like that. But other than that, I mean, like I said, they're super well-rounded. They're a really good football team. I think the Seahawks pull this one out. My question to you is this.
Okay.
Carson Wentz has been everything but great since his MVP season.
Okay.
going into this year, a lot of people had talks like, oh, they drafted Jalen Hurts for a reason. They may be looking to bench Wentz soon. This year, Wentz has been struggling. The Eagles have been struggling. So do you think that, and like DK Metcalf says, DK Metcalf says he needs to be benched. Carson Wentz needs to be benched. What do you think? Do you think they need to bench Wentz and, in favor of Jalen Hurts? I know you said Jalen Hurts is your guy. Do you think it's time? The time is now for Jalen Hurts?
No, it's not.
Okay,
I'll
so
look at
let me put it like this real quick before you answer.
Okay.
What if the Eagles play tonight and, of course, Wentz gets 95% of the snaps and he struggles terribly and they lose that game in large part because of Carson Wentz.
Okay.
Do you think that at that point he needs to be benched?
No, I say this the only reason because he's on a big, big contract. I feel if they bench him, it may be the right thing to do for the team, but I feel like just money-wise, because we know the NFL is just money. If you bench somebody on that contract, nobody else is going to take him. I think about Joe Flacco. The reason why we benched him and put Lamar in is because after that year, we cut him or trade him. There's not as much dead cap. But
that's true.
So I think the money is the biggest issue. But I look at it too. Their line is they're decimated with injuries too. I mean, when he was given targets, he was doing something. Even last year, he didn't have that many targets. He was still got into the playoffs with practice squad receivers. So I don't think it's more on him. I think it could be on the play calling by Doug Peterson and the offensive line play, kind of like the Ravens, a little similarities.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I haven't seen too much of Jalen Hurts. I didn't watch him too heavy in college, but I do know what kind of quarterback he is. And I think that he's a spark. He's one of those guys. He's like a spark for your offense. Like if you can just get him on the field, let him make plays, I feel like the Eagles could probably benefit from that. And I know why they're probably sticking with Wentz this year, because they're low key still in playoff contention. They could still win that division. The NFC least, the NFC least is very terrible. So they could still win that division. Say they win the game tonight, or something like that, and they go on a little stretch to end the season, they could be in good shape to make the playoffs. But I think that if they don't make the playoffs this season and Wentz continues to struggle on offense, then because I know there's a lot of stats working against Carson Wentz right now in terms of quarterbacks. I know he's ranked in the bottom 5 and a couple of key stats
completion percentage.
So stuff like that. So I think that they definitely don't have him on the longest. I mean, the longest leash. Yeah. I'm not saying he's on a short leash, but if he doesn't perform, it's a medium leash. It's a medium leash. And I think that they might end up moving away from him, or trading him or something like that. I feel there's not a whole lot of teams in the league right now that need a quarterback.
I'll tell you one team, though, that would make a lot of sense.
Who?
Indianapolis Colts. I say this, we got Phillip Rivers. He's coming to the end of the year, signed a 1-year contract, I believe, 1 to 2 year. But their head coach is Frank Reich. Frank Reich worked with the Eagles, I believe, as a quarterback's coach or the offensive coordinator when they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And that year was when Wentz had the MVP season before he tore his ACL against the Rams.
Yeah.
I mean,
that is interesting.
That's the only place I can think of. But besides that, there's really not many teams that need a quarterback. I mean, the Jets don't. I don't think they need Trevor Lawrence. I think Darnold is a very good quarterback, bad coach. But
terrible coach.
Yeah. Terrible. It's worse than terrible. I'm
Yeah, man. I think that if they did get Carson Wentz, I could totally see that happening. See, man, I could see, now that you bring it up, I could see the Colts trading for Wentz, getting him, and then the Eagles just throwing Jalen Hurts in there and say, hey, you're our new guy. Let's see where we can go with you. But yeah, nonetheless, to wrap all that up, I definitely have the Seahawks winning tonight. If the Eagles lose tonight and they lose badly, there will be talks on First Take and Undisputed and all those Colin Cowherd show. All those shows tomorrow, they're going to be talking about, is it time to bench Carson Wentz? So just wait on that story if the Eagles lose and lose badly tonight.
100% agree. I want to bring up a point. So if I were to ask you about 2 to 3, maybe a month ago, who the NFL MVP was, who would you say?
2 or 3 months ago?
No, 2 to 3 weeks or maybe a month ago. Just thinking back. Who are we talking about?
I mean, we're talking Russell Wilson. We're talking Kyler Murray.
Yep, I'm gonna
And
stop you
yeah,
there. I'm gonna stop you
yeah.
there. They played the Patriots yesterday.
I already know where you're going with this.
He went 23 for 34 with 170 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 pick, and 31 rushing yards. With all
Yeah.
those receivers, let's flash back 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. There was a monsoon in New
Yep.
England. Lamar Jackson, 24 for 34, 249 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 55 rushing yards. Keep that same energy. I'll leave it there. All I got to say.
Man. But yeah, just to touch on it real quick, no one's going to keep that same energy when it comes to like Lamar Jackson. Everybody wants to be right about Lamar Jackson. The second that like, and I've seen it even with like my friends who I talk football with, my coworkers who I talk football with, like the ones who are like, oh, Lamar, before last year, they're saying, oh, Lamar can't do this. He can't throw. He can't do that. He can't win games with his arm, that sort of thing. Then he has his, legendary season last year. Crickets. They were quiet. And now this year, he's struggling a little bit more again. And it's like, oh, we told you so, he's not that good, this, that, and the third. And it's just like, all right. But, when Kyler Murray, somebody who, he doesn't really have like a, and I think the bigger thing is that he doesn't have a stereotype on him. Kyler Murray doesn't have that stereotype because, of course he can run, but he's still like a pure thrower of the football. And I think that's like the biggest difference that people are seeing. Like, oh, Lamar, he's so fast. Like he runs, like he's a run first quarterback. That's the problem that people have with Lamar. And that's why they never keep that same energy with him.
No, 100% agree. I just want to bring it up real quick, just a little something.
Yeah, listen, man. I think it's better off with Lamar being doubted, him having his critics and stuff like that. Keep that chip on his shoulder, man. For a young man like Lamar Jackson, he needs that. He needs that motivation. And I know he likes that too. He likes, like he said the other day, everybody wants to see us lose. Nobody wants to see the Ravens win.
No. I mean, and people were, like I said, they're trying to clown him. Like, oh, of course we want to see you win. Like, I get division rivals, AFC rivals, such as your Chiefs, such as your Titans. But when we're talking about, teams in the NFC, why do you want to see him lose? Unless he's playing you. I mean, I know me growing up, I was rooting when I saw Vic. I'm like, that's Michael Vick. Or, when the Chargers, when they had a great team, Eric Weddle, Sean Merriman, and when the powder blue uniforms came out, I was rooting for him. I'm not going to lie, because those uniforms are just too clean. But
those are nice.
Yeah, why are you rooting for him when he has nothing to do with your team? Rooting against him, I should say. So just something to think about.
Yeah, man. I think that most teams, like most fans of other teams, they feel like if they get beat by Lamar, they feel like they got beat by a gimmick. And that's why they don't really like him that much, And Kyler Murray doesn't have that same gimmick attached to him. But we are about an hour and 20 minutes in. We're going to go ahead and get into, I think, one of my favorite segments where we talk some fantasy football.
I'm with it. Let's go.
Yeah, man. We talk some fantasy football. What happened in this past week, which is still not over yet.
We have 2 more days.
After tonight. We got 2 more days in this week 12 fantasy football game. So, and then also, how we look going forward. The playoffs for fantasy football should be starting for a lot of us soon and very soon. Me next week. So, I'm going to review my team and kind of what happened.
Yours. Everybody drop yours in the comments. Let us know.
Yeah, let us know how your fantasy football team performed, who you had, who you didn't have, who you were going up against, the reason you won, reason you lost. I want to know all that stuff. So, my team, right now, I'm just going to run down the list of who I had starting this week. I had Justin Herbert, who got me 20 points, played against Buffalo, had a pretty humble game to Justin Herbert standards. Normally he's, throwing for 300 yards and at least 2 touchdowns, maybe 3 touchdowns, but he had 316 yards yesterday passing, 1 passing touchdown, 1 interception. He got sacked 3 times.
Oof.
So he had a humble 20 points. Then in my RB1 spot, I had Mike Davis. Now, he's not necessarily my RB1, but, he's in that spot. So, I had Mike Davis. He only had 9 points.
With McCaffrey out, you'd expect more.
With McCaffrey out, I don't understand what Carolina is doing with Mike Davis. They gave him 15 carries, and he only had 55 yards. So, it's just like,
I don't get it.
But he has 6 targets and 3 catches for 24 yards. And it's just, I don't get it. Like you said, earlier this season, he was just going off. He was giving you RB1
points,
numbers.
high 20s every game.
So I just don't know, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to start him next week because, well, I have a bye next week because the playoffs start. So I was fortunate enough.
Hey, don't pull the Ravens. All right, we know when the Ravens get the bye last. Don't pull the Ravens.
I don't want my team to get rusty, but let's see. In my RB2 spot, which is really my RB1 spot, I have Derrick Henry.
King Henry in the flesh.
He got me a cool 37 points, and that's off of 178 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns, man.
I was watching that game, and I'm like, wow. I mean, we touched on it earlier in the podcast, but now since we're here, we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Man, he ate that Colts defense alive.
Oh my gosh, he slaughtered them. And I love to see it, I got Derrick Henry the week before they played the Ravens, and I started him for the first time against the Ravens, and I was just like, hey man, Derrick Henry's Derrick Henry. You know what I mean? He's gonna do his thing.
Henry.
And he sure did his thing this week. He got me 37 points. So my wide receivers, I had DeAndre Hopkins only got me 8 points. He's been very humble lately.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid that DeAndre Hopkins is turning into that guy where like teams know how good he is, just how good he is. So they're honing in on him like no other. There's like, okay, we're going to shut down D-Hop and we're going to make somebody else beat us. And that sucks for fantasy football.
Point. You're right.
Yeah. So,
I mean, then again, he had Stephon Gilmore on him this week too. So
that's
I wouldn't.
Also true.
He had like I might have been the best corner in the league. So.
Yeah, and I mean he only had 5 catches for 55 yards. So I can never be mad at D-Hop though, because I know he's gonna give me those weeks where I get like 20 plus. But wide receiver 2 has CeeDee Lamb, only got me 4 points. Really did nothing against Washington. He had 5 catches for 21 yards. It's just like I never know with CeeDee Lamb. When I don't start him, he gets a touchdown or 2, and it just goes off. But when I do start him, it's like 3, 4, 5 catches for 46 yards, 51 yards, or something like that. It's crazy, man. So I probably won't be starting him next week. But my wide receiver 3.
Okay.
My man, Tyreek Hill. Oh my goodness.
No.
Tyreek Hill. He just, bro.
In the first quarter, 7 receptions. 203 yards. 3 touchdowns.
Like, what? It's like, bro. It's like Marquise Brown. You have to watch this man. Call him if you need to. Learn from him. Do something. Because he got me 56 whopping fantasy points, bro. And that's off of 13 catches. How many? 56 fantasy points. 56. That's off of 13 catches, 269 yards, and 3 touchdowns. 269? That's quarterback numbers. That's ridiculous, man. That's ridiculous.
Had more yards catching than Josh Allen had throwing. Think about that.
It's wild. It's really wild, man. Shout out to Tyreek Hill because I just traded for him as well. I know a couple weeks ago on this podcast, I was telling you guys that I traded away Dalvin Cook and Keenan Allen for Derrick Henry and Tyreek Hill. And look what they've done for me so far.
I think you've won the trade so far.
I think I've won that trade, man. Darian Thomas says, you got Hill and Henry. That's cheating. Man, I just finessed my way. I finessed my way to get these guys. But I'm going to just wrap up my team real quick so Simply can get to his. I had James White, which was a clutch start for me. I had James White in my flex. He had 2 touchdowns. Didn't really do much else, but he had 2 touchdowns.
Can't get mad at 2 touchdowns.
Can't get mad at 2 touchdowns. So I was glad I started him. I also have Ryan Suckup, got me 5 points. Rams defense got me 15 points. Shout out to them.
Yep.
And I still
Aaron Donald. Literally. I mean, it's him and Watt for defensive player. I watched that game yesterday. Aaron Donald is the reason why the Rams were in that game.
And for me, Aaron Donald, it's like, it's amazing how this man consistently just bullies and throws around other grown men. It doesn't matter who they are. Doesn't matter what team they play for.
Grown man.
Grown man. Bro, it's insane. Grown men against grown men. It's
I want to see the Titans and Rams play. I would love to see Derrick Henry and Aaron Donald just go at it. That would be. That's what I want to see.
That'd be fun. But my tight end that I have Eric Ebron, who I guess is going to play on Wednesday. So we'll see about that. But right now I'm sitting at a humble 170 points, and I'm projected to win this week. So, yeah. What about your fantasy team?
Shout out to Tyreek Hill. Wow.
Shout out to Tyreek and Derrick Henry.
Okay. So right now I am winning 139.48 to 119.9. Now,
Okay.
my friend who I'm playing has Tyler Lockett and Dallas Goedert playing tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I have to win this to stay in the play. If I lose this, I'm out the playoffs. So we have this and one more game left. My team, and I screwed myself. You guys can laugh at me. I benched Kenyon Drake and Jarvis Landry. And Jarvis Landry had 8 catches, 143 yards, and a touchdown. On ESPN, it's 28 points. Kenyon Drake had 24 points. So just keep that in mind when I tell you who I started. My quarterback, Josh Allen, 15.5 points. Not what I was expecting from him. My running back, the GOAT, James Robinson, 27 points.
That's tough. He's been so good.
My other running back, Duke Johnson, 17 points. I was happy with that. So I'm like, okay. I benched Kenyon Drake for Duke Johnson. I was like, okay, cool. My receiver one, A.J. Brown, 26 points. He had that onside kick touchdown. My other receiver, Scary Terry McLaurin, 16 points. I was hoping he would have gotten a touchdown just to stat pad some more.
Yeah.
My tight end, Travis Kelce, 16 points. My flex, actually, I'll leave that. My defense, New Orleans, I had them from the week before. I'm like, okay, Broncos have no quarterbacks. Okay, 14 points. My kicker, Michael Badgley, 3 points because he missed the extra point and only had 1 field goal. My flex, feel free to roast me. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 4.9 points.
Man.
If I started Jarvis Landry, I would have this all but locked up. I mean, actually, I wouldn't because Lockett had like a 50-point game against the Cardinals this year.
Yeah. What are you up 20 by right now?
I'm up 20, and the projection is me losing by 0.5.
Ooh.
So I'm already ready to get my heart broken, but I really shouldn't even be where I'm at because I started like 2-4, and I'm like 7-4.
Yeah.
So it's been a good run for my team.
Because you said you have. Well, he has Dallas Goedert and Tyler Lockett, right?
And Lockett just puts up numbers.
Yeah. I mean, really, you just got to hope for game script. You got to hope that, the Seahawks get out to a very early lead and they're running the ball a lot. That sort of thing.
I see my guy, Boz. He just put a funny comment in the chat.
Oh, Boz says, I'll take a hit from Aaron Donald for $10K. I won't remember any of it. That's probably true, man. Aaron Donald he's a bowling ball, like a human bowling ball. Can't stop him.
I'm gonna give a shout out to Boz because he's in my fantasy league too. He knocked off the top player in our league, and potentially just shook up our whole playoff bracket. So shout out to you, Francis, because you did something right there.
Okay.
So it's our fantasy league is coming down to the wire. I know yours is too. So I'm looking forward to helping people out in the coming weeks. Because we got playoff time. So if you need some help, suggestions, we're here for you in the chat as well.
Put it in the chat, you know what I'm saying? Even if you're watching this after the fact that it was live, you can put in the comments. We'll still get back to you on who we think you should start or who you should sit in your fantasy football league. But yeah, let's see. Was there anything else that I'm missing? Darian Thomas says must be in PPR. I know my league is half PPR.
Mine's full PPR.
Full PPR. Okay. That's crazy though. Tyreek Hill got me 56 points in a half PPR league.
I'll tell you what he got in a full PPR. I got you in a full PPR league, Tyreek Hill got 57.9 points.
That's just ridiculous, man. Let's see. Just to go ahead and close out, we're going to go ahead and close out with this question here by our guy, Falou. He says, do you think Lamar versus Mahomes will be a rivalry for a long time? I say like Tom versus Peyton 2.0. What do you think about that, bro?
I don't. If it is, Lamar will be Peyton and Mahomes will be Brady because, I saw yesterday, like, I'm not going to say I like him. I don't dislike him, but he talks. And when he gets hit, he's looking for that flag, like a quarterback who we used to play a lot. I don't think it will. And it's just two different styles of play. They're nowhere near the same. So if I could really put up to anybody, I'm going to go the early 2000s Seahawks Niners, the Kaepernick against Russell Wilson. That's what I'll say. Just two teams is going at it. I know the Seahawks got an upper hand later in the year. Later in the rivalry, Niners had it early, but there's really no other rival that can compare this to. But let's just hope we win one.
Yeah, shoot, man. If Lamar Jackson can be even half of what Peyton Manning was, in terms of like a career accomplishments and things like that, that'd be awesome for Lamar. Hopefully, he can exceed that.
Yeah,
Because the way it's looking right now, Lamar Jackson and Peyton Manning's career paths, they look kind of similar. If you go back
yeah,
and look at how Peyton Manning was, he didn't really win a lot of playoff games early on in his career, just kind of like Lamar Jackson, but he still ended up winning, championships. So, we'll
oh, yeah.
see.
Two, yeah, yeah,
Lamar versus
two,
two, yeah, he had
two rings.
two,
Yeah,
but Lamar versus Mahomes, I do think that can be a long time rivalry as long as, like, of course, everybody can stay healthy, and as long as the Ravens can actually get a good supporting cast around Lamar Jackson for him to
yes,
actually pull out these close games. We need that number one receiver. It all comes back down to that. We need Dez to step up. We need a guy like Duvernay to step over. Whether or not we go out and get a Kenny Stills or a Galladay or
Allen
who were you
Robinson.
saying? Allen Robinson, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, somebody like that. Most likely, I think that rivalry can probably be a long term thing. Elliot says he needs better coaches around him. I think that's another big thing as well. Shout out to you, Elliot. Shout out to you, CJ. CJ, he says I'm going to subscribe. He loved the vid. Appreciate that, bro, man.
well, I got a phone ringing. Let me mute this real quick.
Okay. Yeah. Shout out to you guys though. Definitely like this video, subscribe to the channel. We're going to be coming out with more content. We're going to be releasing another video on Thursday. That's going to be the day after the Steelers game. So of course we'll have a ton to talk about. And I was just telling them, Alex, we're gonna have a ton to talk about after the Steelers game
Oh,
on
so
Thursday.
much, so
Yeah.
much.
So make sure you're subscribed and make
Yeah,
sure you check back.
yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on. I don't know if you guys have noticed, we're going to be putting our favorite clips. Just upload them. I mean, you tell us what your favorite part of this podcast was. We'll upload it.
Yeah.
Any talking points? I know last week we talked about the keys to beat the Steelers. That was before everybody went on the COVID and our favorite jerseys. So if you have any questions, just I don't know, we just want to ask us. Go for it. It can be any question. We'll answer and we can make another clip. Just let us know.
Yeah, we'll probably do like some sort of like a mailbag segment. That way, if you have like any questions for the next episode, you can leave them in the actual comment section for this episode, and we'll package them all up, and then on the next episode we'll get to and answer them all sequentially in a row. So yeah, man, I think that's gonna do it for us here tonight. We've been going for about an hour and 40, so we're gonna let you guys go. Remember to like this video, subscribe to our channel, because we're coming out with more and more Ravens and NFL content. Like we always say, we're not just a Ravens channel.
Oh,
We talk other stuff on
no.
NFL as well. We talk fantasy, and we'll be
Yes.
talking about more going forward as well. So just keep checking out for us.
And pop culture. Anything you want. We'll talk about it.
Anything you want to talk
Actually,
about.
I want to talk about this. Did you watch the fight this weekend? The fights?
Oh,
I want to talk about this.
yeah,
I
yeah.
meant
We'll
to
talk
bring
about
this
this
up.
before we go. Yeah.
Okay.
I did watch the fights.
Both of them, like the last two?
Yeah.
Okay. Man, number one, I actually posted a video and I got copyright claimed. I have a copyright strike on my account.
Ooh.
So to the broadcasting station in Japan, please, I never want to see you ever, because if we do, it's gonna be violence. All right. That wasn't that wasn't your clips, but go ahead. But yeah, wow. That was the most 2020 thing I think I've seen.
Honestly, man, and just seeing a guy like, the co-main event, Nate Robinson versus Jake Paul.
Oh yeah, I called out Jake Paul. Come on, bring it on. Simply as and Jake Paul. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
I don't know, man. Jake Paul looks like he has some hands on him. I saw the training videos that he had. He's knocking dudes out that are wearing headgear.
Yeah, and I felt bad for Nate Robinson. That's 6'1" against 5'9".
Yeah.
But
yeah, man.
Snoop Dogg's just his commentary made it so much better, because when you hear Nate Robinson hit, you hear, "Oh Lord!" I'm like, "Oh my God, this is real life." Oh man,
bro, the way he hit the canvas was just like, it was bad, man. It was embarrassing. I was just like, come on, man. You can't go out like that. You can't go out like that, man. Like you use your jab, do something. The problem was, and for those of you guys who don't know, I'm a huge fight fan. I don't like boxing that much. I'm more so into MMA, and I watch a lot of UFC and Bellator and all those other promotions. But The problem that Nate Robinson had in this fight was that for one, he didn't train that much. I think they were saying he trained for like 6 months, and Jake Paul had been training for like a couple years at this point.
Yeah, he's been fighting for like 2 years now.
Yeah, and Nate Robinson, like his style of fighting was if he got hit, okay, he was opening up and trying to throw something right back instead of like covering up, taking angles, trying to get out of the way. And Jake Paul was just taking advantage of him all day. He's like, I'm not going to get into this firefight with you. Like, if you're going to try to, swing hard on me after I hit you, I'm going to move back. I'm going to move back in. I'm going to hit you again. And that's what he kept doing, and that overhand right just eventually just shut his lights out, man. It was crazy to watch. And I was watching it with like a couple of my buddies, and we were all just shocked. We were all just shocked that like we literally just witnessed that happen. It felt rigged at the time. It was just like I know that did not just happen on live television, but it was crazy. I think it's funny. Jake Paul had said after the fight he was like he's trying to get it on with Conor McGregor, and I'm just like, oh, bro, man,
the 3 fights you've gotten in, they have never. They were training for like less than a year, bro. No, you can't. That's like one of us like playing a football game, like just pick up and going off and saying, you know what, come on, NFL team, come sign me. Like, no, it's not happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like the but the fight business is so different, and there's so much money involved, and there's that there's the puncher's chance. Like you can get a win if you just catch them at the right time in the right spot, that sort of thing. And there's something to be said about, combat sports. They're very compelling because it's a one-on-one sport. It's just me versus you, and whoever's the better man that night is going to win. Yeah. It's a very compelling sport. So I understand why, like, Jake Paul would call out a Conor McGregor because, Conor McGregor is a huge name. He's one of the best fighters on the planet. And Jake Paul just, he got a lot of clout off of that fight against Nate Robinson, and maybe not so deservingly so because Nate Robinson's not a boxer at all. He was an ex-NBA player. For those of you guys who don't know, Nate Robinson was he was an NBA player. He played primarily for the Knicks, and he was just known for just having, very high motor, very good hops. Like he won the dunk competition in the NBA
like 3 times.
I can't remember exactly how many times he won, but the most notable one, he beat Andre Iguodala in a dunk contest like way back when, and I don't think that Nate Robinson won that dunk contest. But that's another story for another day.
Yeah.
Anyway, Nate Robinson is a basketball player. He had no business stepping in the ring with Jake Paul. But it'll be interesting to see who Jake Paul fights next. I think Jake Paul, he needs to graduate from fighting like other YouTubers and guys like that. So. Yeah. Hopefully they get him a real fight next, and
we'll see.
It'll be interesting to see. But
I feel like he just gives like YouTubers like a bad name, like no hate towards them, but like just very problematic. Like I'm not trying to throw shade. I'm just being honest. Like I'm not the only one saying this, but I mean, hopefully he can branch off and do his own thing. But we'll see. And like you said, you just can't start beating up on people who really have no experience. That's no credibility.
No credibility, but it's it's mainly for like the money and stuff like that. So it is what it is, though. But did you catch the Mike Tyson fight, though?
I did. So like I said, so I made the highlight video of that, and it got claimed. And so I actually made the video of Nate Robinson getting knocked out. It had like 100,000 views within like an hour. I'm like, bro, let me take this down. Don't get copyright twice. But I think Tyson won that easily.
I think so too. Yeah, I definitely think that Tyson won that fight. I watched the whole thing. I think he won like 6 rounds out of the 8, if not 7. He just was. I mean, Roy Jones Jr. Of course, both of them are way past their primes, and neither of them need to be in a boxing ring at this point. But again, money. But when it comes down to the fight, Roy Jones Jr. he just did not seem like he had it in him. Like he didn't have the gas tank, to hang with Mike Tyson, and nor did he have the will to hang with Mike Tyson. Now, of course, shout out to him for not getting knocked out cold like Nate Robinson did. Yeah. But he wasn't very competitive in that fight. And Mike Tyson actually looked pretty good for somebody who's like, 50 years old. So he was cutting off the ring. He was like Tudo said, he mopped the floor with him, really. He was cutting off the ring. Landing those body shots. That was the biggest story of the fight. Those body shots. I know Roy Jones felt that. Imagine taking a body shot from Mike Tyson.
I don't care how old he is. He could be 80 years old. I'm going to feel this, too. And shout out to both of them. I mean, for getting in the ring and lasting the full time. Yeah. Because I thought somehow just kind of give up at one point because for their age and everything. But they they stuck it out.
Yeah,
So
they actually
when
did
they
their
said a
thing.
draw, I was like, maybe they're trying to do a rematch again for more money. But
Yeah.
I mean, it was entertaining to watch nonetheless.
Yeah, when they said it was a draw, that's what really made me feel like the whole fight card was like rigged. Like, okay, like this was clearly not a draw. I feel like Nate Robinson should not have gotten knocked out that easily against Jake Paul.
Yeah,
And I don't know. I don't know. It was entertaining though. I will say that. It was
very.
entertaining. I was entertained. Shout out to everybody who put that fight together. Shout out to Triller because I know they sponsored that fight and
Yeah,
everything like that. But
and weed maps. that
and
that's
weed
just
maps, yeah.
2020. That's
Yeah.
2020 for you. I was and shout out
Right.
to Snoop Dogg. I want to see Snoop Dogg commentate an NFL game. It could be the worst NFL game. It could be the Jets against the Lions. I'm tuning in if he's
Yeah.
commentating.
He's good. I like he has a podcast called GGN where he brings like other like, rappers or other guys on and stuff like that. It's pretty good. Have you ever seen Snoop Dogg play Madden against Hollywood Brown?
I have. I saw that. Just anything Snoop Dogg does, I love it. Like he's
Yeah.
just definition just laid back and chill. Love it.
Laid
Love
back.
it.
Yeah. All things Snoop Dogg, man. All things Snoop. But this has been episode 6 of the Purple Rain podcast. We're gonna catch you guys in the next one. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. And we're gonna catch you guys on Thursday, right after the game. Hopefully we play.
Hopefully, let's
Hopefully.
hope.
Fingers
Let's
crossed,
hope.
right? But yeah, we're gonna catch you guys in the next one.